When it comes to executing Norbert's Gambit in Questrade, there are two major changes that you need to know about. One involves a new fee, but the other could quietly cost you a big chunk of your money if you are not paying attention. In this video, I will run through both of the changes and explain how they affect you and what you can do to avoid costly mistakes. Hello everyone, I am Justin, an engineer by degree, and I have been obsessed with investing for over a quarter of a century. On this channel, I focus on evidence-based investing. No stock picks, meme coins, or other BS, just real studies and reports to back up what I present. So if you want to cut through the noise and stay grounded in what actually works, with data-driven insights and without the hype, then consider subscribing. All right, now let's break down exactly what has changed with Norbert's Gambit in Questrade. First, they now charge $9.95 Canadian plus tax just to journal your shares. Second, you can no longer call or use the chat feature to journal your shares. It has to be done manually through the Questrade platform, and I will run through exactly how to do that, show you on Questrade momentarily. Finally, this second variation has caused another very serious but less visible change, and it makes Norbert's Gambit significantly riskier than it was before, so I'm going to cover that as well. So it's important to stick around for that because the risk of losing a significant amount of money with Norbert's Gambit is a lot more serious than a lot of people realize, and that risk just got significantly bigger. First, a little background. Questrade recently got rid of trading commissions. They had been charging between $4.95 and $9.95 per trade. The purchase of ETFs were free, but selling still incurred a fee. Another cost we no longer have are ECN fees, which used to apply to DLR, the popular ETF used for Norbert's Gambit. Commissions were typically more significant than ECN fees anyway, except for larger transactions. After removing trading commissions entirely, Questrade has now introduced this new journaling fee of $9.95 Canadian plus tax. I just had a comment from a Tater subscriber. It was actually a question related to this new fee. So the question was, hi, is it worth it using Norbert's Gambit now with the $9.95 fee plus tax? I replied explaining that Questrade now charges the $9.95 fee, but ETF sales commissions are completely gone. So the cost really hasn't gone up. So it's still worth it to execute Norbert's Gambit if you are converting a few $1,000s or more. Questrade's foreign exchange fee is 1.5%. So the fee really adds up depending on how much money you are converting. Hey, by the way, if you are new to Norbert's Gambit or otherwise just want a full breakdown of how and why it works, I've got a separate video covering the full methodology, so I have linked that at the top of the screen and in the description. So before we hop over to Questrade to show you how to now journal the shares, just note that this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only, okay? Don't consider it financial advice. Make sure to do your own research, do your own due diligence, and consider consulting with a financial professional. I have links down below to help you find a good one because there are a lot of bad ones out there. Okay, let's head over to Questrade and I will walk you through exactly how to journal the shares step by step. And make sure you stick around after that because I'm going to explain the most important recent change to this process and why it carries even more risk than before. Okay, we have logged into Questrade and I've already purchased DLR in order to execute Norbert's Gambit. So you're going to go up and click on Management so that you see the screen we're looking at now. You'll then simply scroll down and click on Journal Shares. From there, you will select the account with which you would like to journal the shares. You select the symbol, in this case DLR.TO, and the number of shares. You hit continue, and then you will hit send request. And then you come to this request history page where you can see the status of the order so that you can tell when it is complete. But what I prefer to do is just look at the holdings in my account, and you can easily see when DLR has been converted to DLR.U. This next part is critical, and it's something that could cost you thousands if you're not careful. The biggest change to executing Norbert's Gambit through Questrade is the timeline. What used to take 2 to 3 business days now takes 5. That added delay leaves you exposed to currency fluctuations for even longer. And if the exchange rate moves in the wrong way during that process, the losses could be very significant. I actually put out a video last year diving into this exact risk, how much you could potentially lose while waiting for Norbert's Gambit to go through. I also cover a very important step to ensure the process actually works and your currency is converted. So I'll leave a link to that video at the top of the screen and in the description as well. To sum up the risk portion, I actually went back and analyzed daily exchange rate data over a 30-year period to identify the biggest short-term swings investors could have faced. The worst 3-day move came during 2008 during the financial crisis, a 7.7% spike in the US dollar. So if you had started Norbert's Gambit on October 7, 2008, you could have lost 7.7% just from the currency shift before the process was even complete. And that was just over 3 days. With the process now stretching to 5, the risk is even greater. The biggest 5-day move during that period was 8.3%, so not actually that much worse than 7.7%, but still pretty huge. Now, to be clear, this is based on 30 years of data, and it's very possible there have been even more extreme cases outside of that window. So all the more reason to be cautious and diligent. Journal your shares as soon as they settle and sell them right away after the journaling is done. If, for an example, an investor forgot they were in the middle of Norbert's Gambit and let it drag on for a month instead of a week, they could have lost 13% in 2008. If they let it go 2 months, the loss could have ballooned to over 25%. Sure, it could also swing in your favor, but the longer delay just adds more risk and uncertainty either way. If you are converting a very large amount of money in a one-time transaction, then the risk is very real. A sharp change in the exchange rate could end up costing you a lot more than the 1.5% Forex fee that you are trying to avoid. For example, if you are converting $100,000 Canadian to buy a home in the US and the exchange rate shifted 8.3% against you, loss in value would be over $8,000 Canadian. That's a lot more than the $1,500 you would have paid to Questrade just to convert the money. And if that money was going towards a down payment, a swing like that could leave you short, potentially putting the entire purchase at risk. So while Norbert's Gambit can save you money, it is not without risk, and the stakes get higher depending on how much money you are converting. So always weigh those risks carefully when deciding if Norbert's Gambit is the right move for you. Now, if you're doing Norbert's Gambit once or twice a year with roughly the same amount of money, then the gains and losses should even out over the long term, like a 20 or 30-year period. So long term, the risk of losing a lot of money is probably pretty minimal. And hey, before you head out, check out the description for some bonuses. You can score $50 with Questrade to sign up for a new account and fund it within 60 days. I've got links for both web and Quest Mobile there. And if you're looking at Wealthsimple, sign up and fund your account with only $1 to grab an extra 25. So these are referral links that help support the channel at no extra cost to you. Make sure you subscribe and ring the bell so you're notified when the next video comes out. Thanks for watching. Please like and share if you are so inclined. It would help the channel quite a bit. I appreciate you watching. Thank you. Good luck. We'll see you again soon.